So how do you create a brand that truly represents who you are and the products you sell, as well as building a business that you can scale online? That is what this podcast will help you do. My name is Henry Kaminsky Jr., and welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast.
Let me just make this statement loud and clear. Jersey's here, Jersey's here.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Brand Doctor Podcast episode. Once again, we are streaming this live, so we are going to get some audience participation for sure in this episode. Today, I have an amazing guest. We were introduced again through my man, David Meltzer. Big shout out to David. This individual is extremely impressive. I did some research on him prior to our conversation, and man, so world-class bodybuilder, multi-millionaire entrepreneur, runs fitness franchise business, 110 locations, 2 different supplement companies. Man, this guy has done it all. Without further ado, I want to introduce Sam Bakhtiar to the show. What's going on, my man?
Henry, it's an honor and privilege to be on your show. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your time.
Dude, what an impressive resume, man. I want to take it back to the beginning and really get the backstory. Where did this drive come from? Where did this ambition come from? And how did you get to where you're at today?
Henry, I was born in a third world country. I was born in Iran. And so when you're born in a third world country, you already are looking for opportunities because there's no opportunity exists in a third world country. And what was worse was that when I was 3 years old, 2 things happened. 2 things that was devastating at the time when I was 3. One was my mom and dad separated, and I never saw my dad after that again. And my single mom had to go to work, struggle, and when you're divorced in a Muslim country, that's not a good thing, especially if you're a woman. It's not a good thing. So my mom really struggled to try to, go make ends meet and try to feed me and all that kind of stuff. And another bad thing that happened was that we went to war with Iraq. Saddam Hussein started bombing us. And for a period of 8 years, every single night we heard sirens. Planes was flying over, our area, dropping bombs. And we were always scared that is the bomb going to drop on us next day or next night or whatnot? When is our number coming up? So growing up, being disadvantaged, what I mean disadvantaged is economically being disadvantaged. I always wanted, when I went to people's homes and people had a nice home or a nice car and, they had everything they needed. I told myself, one day when I become a father, when I become a husband, I'm going to be able to provide these kind of things that I see other people doing for their family. I want to be a provider. I want to be a super provider. So that became kind of like more core value. I always wanted, the better things in life. I wanted the nice homes and the nice cars and all that. So that was my motivating drive as a young kid.
Sure.
Because to me back then, because you didn't have any funds or any means, success was material things back then. But once you get it, the success changes, the meaning changes.
I feel you loud and clear, man. I hear you loud and clear. Very, very similar. Now, I didn't grow up in a third world country, but parents divorced, didn't have much, grew up modest. My father worked 4 jobs to raise me. Mom sort of bounced in the beginning. And I completely ran towards all the materialistic stuff. I have a wealthy uncle who I would visit on the weekends and during the holidays, and I would see lifestyles of the rich and famous, and I'd be like, I want that, Yeah. And then you go back I go back to my dad's, and I'd be like, what the hell? What is this squalor? And I was, man, did I put my father through some shit, man? I think back and I get so emotional thinking of the what I put that man through and what that man did to make sure that there was food on the table and clothes on my back, right? So, as an older gentleman, you start to think about wow, how do I want to raise my son? Yeah. And so I totally feel that. And do you know Patrick Bet David?
Yeah, I do know Patrick. Patrick's my buddy, man. Yeah, he comes from the same country I do. Yep.
I was just gonna say, you two are like 2 peas in a pod.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Awesome dude. Awesome dude. He was on the show not too long ago. So tell me about how you got in. So you went to Penn State. Awesome. I used to go up there and party a lot. I went to college in Pennsylvania too.
Valley. That's the place, man.
Right? So we used to go up there all the time and party. I had a good friend whose cousin was in a frat, and my God, those frat houses up there were insane.
Yeah.
They were like mansions, big mansions.
Big mansions, yeah.
Right? So how did you get into entrepreneurship and take us from there up?
So growing up, in my culture, entrepreneurship, you're a scum. Basically, you're a salesman. You basically have like a kiosk in the bazaar.
You know what I mean? Okay, yeah.
You're a merchant. So in my culture growing up, they want the title. So they want you to become either a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. So in my culture, if you're a doctor, lawyer, or engineer, you can be broke, but if you're a doctor, lawyer, or engineer, they look up to you.
I see.
It doesn't matter. You can be a merchant and have millions, but it doesn't really matter because you're just a sleazy sales guy, right? So my mom instilled me at a very young age. When we came to America, especially, we came to America when I was 11. We picked up our $500 one luggage, came to America. But ever since I was a little kid, my mom said, "I want you to become a doctor because doctors are going to be successful." And she wanted me to go to doctor, wear a suit and tie all the time, and make something out of myself. Mm-hmm. So my mom always, drove me to become the best and push for more. My mom always said, "You can be whatever you want to be as long as you want to work hard." Mm-hmm. And I remember that very clearly from day one. I believe that, that we can be whoever we want to be as long as we're willing to put in the work and the hustle. Mm-hmm. So entrepreneurship wasn't even in my radar at all. Mm-hmm. So I went to I came to America, with my mom, didn't speak the language. It was very devastating because I thought I was coming to Beverly Hills. We came to because that's what I saw on TV. There were shows. I'm 46, so there were shows back then called Dallas Dynasty and the A-Team. You remember those? Yeah. And that was like the Kardashians of today. So that was my research of coming to America. So when I was looking at those shows, I thought everybody had mansions and Bentleys and Cadillacs and Olympic-sized swimming pools, and that's what I thought. But when I came to America, we had one relative, which was my uncle, my mom's brother, picked us up from a Pittsburgh airport and took us to this little hick town in the middle of nowhere called Sharon, Pennsylvania. And Sharon was an old steel mill town, and all the steel mills were shutting down. Everybody's been being unemployed, and my uncle did what most Middle Easterns do when they come to the United States. He opened up a convenience store in the hood. And Henry, I mean in the hood. Like to this day, I don't know too many worse neighborhoods than that. Really? I mean, I've been all over America. Like I'm talking about, you go there and there was brick roads. It's not even paved. And it was signs on the street says no loitering. You can't even hang out on the street or the police has a right to pick you up. I went to the store and it was, you look outside, there's abandoned buildings, broken windows. And there was basically pimps, drug dealers, and prostitutes hanging around on the street. And that was my first impression of America. Wow. I was like, what the hell? I went to enroll in school. I didn't know the language. I have any friends. And I was the only minority in the entire school. And there was black people, there was white people, and there was me. And talking about being bullied, discriminated against, called names, and all that kind of stuff. I went through it all. But you know something, Henry, that made me who I am. I'm glad that happened. Yeah. That was my training ground. That was my boot camp to become who I am. Because you know what, man, right now, I don't want to put bullying down and stuff like that. I know it's a real problem, but back then, I believe that bullying is a fact of life.
It's like a rite of passage.
Is it right? It's a fact of life. I mean, look, man, the 8th grader is going to bully the 6th grader. That 10th grader is going to bully the 8th grader. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's pretty much evolution.
Yeah.
America, we bully some countries. Right. You'll be like, hey, man, shut the fuck up, or I'm going to come bomb you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you don't stop, we're going to come and fuck you up. You know what I mean? And that's what, you know what I mean? That's the fact of life. And today when I see a society, we're getting weak and somebody, whoa, he's cyberbullying me. I don't even know what the fuck cyberbullying is. I mean, like, what do you mean? Like you didn't like my picture, or you made a mean, comment on my picture, and now I'm fucking all distraught all day long, or a week I'm depressed because I don't get that. So for me, even though that part was tough, it really made me who I am. It made me resilient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It made me stand up for myself. I think I got into 10 fights and I lost all of them. I was 0-10.
Yeah.
But it made me who I am. And when I went to school, all my life, growing up in my former country, I played soccer. Ever since I knew how to walk. So that was my pride and joy. That was everything that I wanted to do. But when I went to school in Sharon, Pennsylvania in 1985, they didn't know what soccer was. They had football, baseball, and basketball. I never knew what football was. To this day, I don't know what baseball is, but the only thing I knew about and I've seen before is basketball, and I never played it before. So I tried out for the basketball team and didn't make it. It was the most devastating moment of my life. So that's why I'm telling you how the entrepreneurship came.
Yeah.
So I went home to my mom and I said, Mom, I want to leave this country. I want to go back to my old country. This country sucks. Nobody likes me. People are making fun of me. I didn't make the team. This is not. I want to go back to my own country. My mom said, we can't. We came here as refugees. We escaped the country. We can't go back. That's not an option. So go after school to the boys' club. Practice, get better, and try out next year. As I was going to the boys' club after school, between 2:30 and 5, because that's when my mom, got off work to come pick me up. I was getting better at basketball. And then next thing you know, I saw these guys that coming from this room. These guys were jack guys, man. All looked like Arnold and Sylvester Stallone. Back then, the Rocky movies were on, the Terminator movies were getting going. Like, I want to look like them. So I started working out. And that's when I worked out. I saw myself not only change on the physical part, but mentally, emotionally, and psychologically, I transformed. And that's when I knew that I want to do this the rest of my life. And that's when I knew that this is the way to go. And I knew that one day I wanted to do what I've done for myself for other people. Got
it. So then you then get into what came first? The fitness business or the supplement business?
Fitness business.
The fitness business. Yeah. Okay. And then that morphed into, so you have franchise locations around the country?
Around the country and a few in Mexico.
Oh, cool.
So I went to Penn State, and then I came to Los Angeles College of Chiropractic, got my doctorate degree.
Yep.
I gave my diploma to my mom. My mom, held it up like LeBron James winning the championship.
That's awesome.
Called all her friends and said, Mom, my son's a doctor. She got her bragging rights, and after that, after that, I'm like, Mom, can I open up my gym? This is what I want to do. And my mom goes, what? I'm like, I kind of give it a little white lie. I said, I'm still going to practice, being a chiropractor and doctor. She goes, okay, as long as you do that. Okay. So I started my first gym right here, in Chino. I live in Chino Hills, but, right here in Chino in the year 2000.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of my entrepreneurship.
Wow, so you're a 20-year vet.
Yes, 20 years.
God bless you, man. That's awesome. I'm going on 13, so I'm not far behind you. So who were some of your mentors growing up? And what were some of the big takeaways from them that sort of pushed you forward to accomplish? Like, not too many people get to the $100 million mark.
Yeah. Well, I would say that, one of my biggest mentors, like somebody I looked up to back then, was a guy named Bill Phillips. I don't know if you know him. He was a guy who started EAS, the supplement company, Metrics.
Okay, I know Metrics.
And he had a magazine called Muscle Media 2000.
Okay,
which he's like a king of transformations back then. So I looked up to him. I bought all his supplements. I did all his workouts. He inspired me to get in the transformation game. So that's who inspired me. I didn't have any, growing up in Sharon, Pennsylvania, the only thing that I regret is not hiring mentors or coaches or even know that existed back then. I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought I knew it all. I thought, okay, I just get people in shape and I'm gonna get better results, and I'm just gonna go work hard. But I didn't know there's such a thing as business mentorship and personal mentorship and things like that. So I started my business in 2000, and I was working. I had a perfect business because I was doing what I was doing. I would love what I do, and I was helping people. At that time, I was 27 years old, so I didn't mind working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, doing something I love and making a good living. Back then for me, 10, 15, 20 grand a month was good living, and I didn't mind that because I still was bodybuilding. I was still competing. I became the first bodybuilder in history to have a first place title in every weight class. That's what so I was, the business fed my passion and my passion fed my business, but then when I wanted to retire from bodybuilding in 2005, and I was like, okay, man, I got to take my business a little more seriously because this is going to be my career, not just a passion project anymore. Right. I want to get married. I want to have children, and so then I started seeking. I'm like, oh wait, there's people that actually coach you on these kind of businesses and stuff like that. I'm like, I didn't know that. So I remember I hired my first mentor. I paid him $2,000 for a year. Back then, to me that was a lot.
Yeah, sure.
To me, that was a lot. I was like, $2,000. I'm like, is he gonna work? And I was like, taking down, I'm like, right now it's like 25 grand, 50 grand. You know what I mean? I paid him $2,000, and nevertheless, man, I mean, my business blew up. Everything went, everything just worked amazingly. And I was like, wow. So that was my first time I got mentorship. I was I was like 32 years old when I first think like, oh my God, maybe I need some help.
Yeah. Wow, man. Such similar stories, man. It's crazy. It's like, it sounds like you telling my story. It really does. It's wild. I'm getting goosebumps here. Seriously. So we got to talk about the current situation because this podcast is going to launch in the next few days. And so, okay. I want to get some insights for my audience that would help. And guys on Facebook, if you're interested in asking Sam any questions, please drop them in the comments and I'll field them and send them over to Sam and he can help you out. So, with the current situation going on, everybody's tightening up. Like we're in New Jersey and New York is not too far. So it's locked down, right? It's crazy over here.
Our top of the nation right now. It's on a curve.
Yeah. So, what we're trying to do is just stay calm but we get antsy. East Coast, Northeast guys and gals, we get antsy. We don't like to take direction. I'm just being honest, right? Like, so I know. Eventually something's going to pop and we might get one of these like.
I see him because I grew up in Pennsylvania. I know how the East Coast mentality is. What the fuck you mean you stay home? Fuck.
Like we're going like this week is going pretty fast. But I got to tell you, like, we're in it for the long haul. We got another month ahead. They told us April is going to be locked down, and we'll take a peek at May and see what it looks like at that point. But we can't promise you anything. So we're in a month, right? What do you tell entrepreneurs that are caught between a rock and a hard place? Do I step on the gas during these times if I have some runway, or do I reserve? Like, that's the big question I've been getting. Like, what do I do during this time? How do I adjust my marketing? How do I adjust my spend? Like, what do I spend money on? Do I just lock everything up and wait for this to blow over? How are you approaching this?
Well, I mean, here's what every time, like if you listen to my whole story, devastation, the first devastation was the war and my dad getting, my dad leaving me. That led me to come to America. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't come to America. Right. Second devastation was me getting cut from the basketball team, me getting bullied. And if that didn't happen, I wouldn't fall in love with weightlifting. If I didn't want to fight with weightlifting, I wouldn't have my gyms right now. I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I can go on and on and on and on. My life has been series of setbacks and devastations, and now every time there is something like this, I know that there's something bigger and better for me after this. So rather than me sitting back and like, oh, okay, let me just go in front of Netflix and just, I saw a meme the other day. Somebody said, I finished Netflix.
I would died when I saw that.
Rather than me going there and finishing Netflix in this month, it's I'm going to do what I'm doing all the time. My schedule is going to be the same. Look, I print out my schedule the night before. I still going to get up at the same time every morning. Go to the gym. Now I'm not going to go to a gym, but I'm going to work out at home.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still going to come to my home office. I'm not going to go to my real office. I'm going to come to my home office. I'm still going to put in the same time I did when I work, whether it's, figuring out a different business plan, working on some things that I need to work on, reading some books. I'm still going to put my, improvement time. And then after that, I'm going to put my family time. So nothing for me is going to change. The environment is going to change. The atmosphere is going to change, but I'm still going to get up and push through. And I wholeheartedly believe that with these kind of devastations, if you want to call it devastation, if you want to call it tests or trials, I wholeheartedly believe that God puts us in that place to test our faith, to see when something like this happens. There's really two things you can do. You can lay down and bitch and complain and just not do anything. Or you can say, okay, well, how am I going to adjust? What am I going to do? How am I going to push forward with this? And if you lay down and quit and just complain, then God is not going to bless you. God is not going to bless you what he has on the other side of this. So, I don't know what you want to call me. Call me crazy. But I believe that so many people are going to come out better at the end of this. Yeah. So many people that were in dead-end jobs that were afraid to quit. Now they were forced to quit or got laid off. And now they're going to say back with what they want to do with their life. They're going to come out with so many people weren't spending time with their family because they're so crazy, going gung-ho about going out there and making money and doing things like that. Now they're with their family. They're like, wait a second, maybe I need to slow down. Maybe I need to spend some time with the family. There's so many good things that are coming out. Now it's unfortunate, man. People are dying and this and that, and unfortunately, that's never a good thing when people die, right. But you know what? If this is what God's plan is, this is what God's plan is, and you can't fight what he has in store for us. I always say, if you want to make God laugh, show him your plans. I always say, I put up the other day a post, how many people say, well, 2020, yeah, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I'm like, I think God is like laughing. I'm like, you were? You didn't run it by me. You know what I mean? And, we still can crush 2020. We just have to pivot and get it in a different direction. That's all.
Yeah. And I encourage that message too. You can't lay down and you can't get frustrated. You can't get bitter. You can't be, woe is me. Why is this happening to me? It's happening to the world. You know what I mean? And how's that going to serve you as a person and as a leader of your family or whoever you are, right? How's that going to serve you to get through this thing by bitching and moaning and complaining and why does this happen to me all the time? And I thought about that because, listen, I'm human. I'm a big optimist like yourself. I'm and there were little micro moments where I was like, what is this? Right. And then I would get frustrated and I would start looking at all the things I didn't have. And you go down that little spiral. And then I'm really good at self-awareness. So I snap out of it very, very quickly. But a lot of people go days like that, weeks like that.
You got to catch yourself, man. It's easy. Look, I used to be that guy. I would go with, I would date a girl who was like, pretty much perfect except one little flaw. Let's just say her toes were jacked up. You know what I mean? And I would look at everything, but I was just like, oh man, her toes, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I'm not saying that's a right thing or wrong thing to do. But right now, when things go sideways, the best thing to do is just remind yourself of everything that's going right, everything that's grateful. Like I get up every day, I'm like, dude, I'm healthy. Like I'm healthy. My kids are healthy. My wife is healthy. I'm happy. I'm like, wait a second. I remember living in the projects. I remember living in the projects and getting food stamps. All right, dude. Like, so I'm stuck in my 10,000 square foot home, that has a swimming pool, jacuzzi, sauna, steam room, gym, a theater. Yeah. Okay, fuck it. Life can't be that fucking bad. And I don't care. And I don't care if you are stuck in a project, in a project, and you have a 200 square feet home, and you are barely making it. You have your health, you have your hustle, you have your will, you have your drive. There's always somebody out there, Henry, that's going to give their left leg to be in your shoes. And for you to concentrate on always what's wrong, you're not going to live a very good life if you always concentrate on what's wrong. So my quote is, where there's gratitude, then fear cannot coexist.
Yeah, that is powerful. I really appreciate you sharing this with my audience. I really do. More people need to hear this. So where can people learn more about you, follow your journey, learn more about your businesses? Where's the best place to reach out to you and to connect with you?
So, you can just Google my name, Sam Bakhtiar, SAMBAKHTIAR. My Instagram handle is the same as well, Sam Bakhtiar. And I'm very active on Instagram. And if somebody wants to text me directly, they can text me directly at 909-200-4015. That's 909-200-4015.
Awesome. Sam, what a pleasure meeting you, dude. This is not the first time we're going to be chatting. I can promise you that.
Of course. And, please, man, please stay in touch. Text me, call me if you need anything. I mean that. And I mean that, brother. I mean that in every way. And there's anything I can do in the future for you, or I can assist you in anything, I'm here for you. And I mean that in a real way.
What is this? Talk to me about this podcast real quick before we let everybody go. You have a podcast out, and talk to me about who do you have on it and why you created it.
Well, so the podcast is called a One Percenter podcast. And a lot of times when I launched One Percenter, I got some slack from a lot of people because people are sometimes insecure about a 1% or the word. What they think about a 1%er. They mean, well, somebody who's in a 1% financially. So a lot of people are like, well, what do you mean, man? You're a 1%er now, so you're because you're rich, are you in shape? You're better than us. I'm like, no, 1% has nothing to do with anybody being better than anyone. 1% is about you paving your own way, you making your own decisions and going against the grain and not trying to be unpopular. 1% is about you becoming the best version of yourself. 1% is about you willing to do whatever it takes, even if it's the unpopular choice, to get to where you want to be. And so to me, that's the 1%er, thing. So as far as the podcast is concerned, Henry, I'd really been doing the podcast for me, because the value that I'm getting from these guests, the connections that I'm making, I feel like I'm interviewing these people for me, and the audience gets to listen to it. That's the bonus. Like I want to interview this guy. I want to know how he's doing this and how I want to do that. So I'm picking the brain, and I want to, it's like the questions that I want to ask, and so I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot. It's called the One Percenter Podcast, and it's a great tool to connect and to put some good information out there.
Awesome. Well, listen, man, if you're looking for another guest, man, I'd be honored.
Absolutely. Let's do it. I mean, we'll schedule you right away, and we'll get you on the show, and I appreciate your offer.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Sam Bakhtiar. There you have it, folks. Go check him out. What a stud. Have an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next episode real soon. Take care.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey everyone, this is Henry Kaminsky Jr. again, and really quick, I want to invite you to a one-on-one consult with me right now if you're looking for the clarity and focus you need to build your brand. Over the past 13 years, I've served hundreds of entrepreneurs that have great products but struggled tremendously with articulating its value to their ideal customers. You didn't get into business to just change a few lives, did you? Your ideal clients need you. And when your brand has precision crafted messaging coupled with beautifully thoughtful design that sounds, looks, and feels like you, they'll know you're the perfect match for them. If this is something you're struggling with, what I want you to do right now is pause this audio and go visit www.uniquedesigns with a Z at the end, not an S, .net, and book your one-on-one consult call with me. Remember, the quality of your brand will determine the quality of your clients, and the quality of your clients will determine the quality of your life.